One bullet can impact so many lives. The shooter, the victim, the loved ones of both.
One bullet sets into motion a string of people and events focused on saving a life. More than 100 people are part of the process, helping the victim from the time of the shooting to the end of rehab.
And one bullet takes a huge emotional and financial toll on everyone involved.
I really want to press the value of life, you know, the value of a person.
Tajudeen T.J. Rowley is a family man. His loving wife and his two beautiful boys are the center of his entire world. And the actor is living his dream.
Yes, I'm living my dream. I'm making films, teaching actors, I'm inspiring, I'm a father, you know, I'm a husband, I'm educated, you know, I'm a business owner, I'm all those things, and there was a point where I didn't think I would even be there.
TJ tells me a violent encounter in his early 20s. You remember that day?
Yeah, I remember that day.
Put him face to face with death.
And so immediately I felt that. I'm like, like I felt this, because it was so fast. It's like, boom, 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 boom.
Not far from his mom's house on Indy's northeast side, TJ had been shot in an incident that started as an attempted carjacking.
I looked up, I'm thinking, dang, this is crazy. You know, I'm really about to die.
As a victim, TJ, like most victims who survive gun violence, would encounter dozens of people he never met, people who would focus their efforts on saving his life. The first responding police officer on scene.
And shout out to cops, because they don't get, you know, they get a lot of bad rep, but he helped save my life, you know, so he immediately got out, and I don't know his name. He immediately got out and was pushing on my chest, giving me CPR, whatnot.
IMPD Sergeant Janae Cook has been the first officer on a shooting scene many times over her 27 years with the department.
First person on the scene, our full focus is preservation of life. We're going to go to that person who's injured. We're going to locate them. We're going to give them as much medical treatment that we can do there on the scene.
Within seconds, other officers are part of this process.
So then they're putting up crime scene tape, securing the area, getting medics in there.
It's usually a chaotic scene, a bloody scene.
The medics stay back until they know they can do their job safely at a shooting scene.
When we get next to the patients, it's all business. We got a job to do, and I think we get hyper-focused on that. And as far as our emotional adrenaline, that stuff comes later after the run, when you go back and you kind of rethink about what you saw, what you did.
The focus is stopping the bleeding.
You know, that pain for that, however long it takes to get the bleed to stop's worth ultimately your life in the long.
Indianapolis EMS paramedic Jeffrey Skidmore tells me losing blood can create a whole host of problems later for gunshot victims, including organ failure. The paramedics then alert the hospital emergency room.
We activate our trauma team when we know we have a gunshot victim coming, and that will include over a dozen people immediately.
Jennifer Burchett is an emergency department nurse for IU Health.
Sometimes it feels like coordinated chaos.
Each person with their own specialized role.
We'll have our trauma team, including our trauma surgeon, their residents. We'll have pharmacy, radiology, social work, chaplain, a dozen of people coming just for that one person. When the patient rolls into the doors, we're already doing an across the room evaluation. Can we see that they're bleeding? Can we see that their chest is rising because they're breathing? What do we need to anticipate?
Dr. Eric Straub is a trauma surgeon and chief of trauma services for Eskenazi Health.
Violence is part of the stress on the medical system.
He's performed operations on so many gunshot victims and tells me firearm injuries have become the leading cause of death for young people. It used to be car crashes.
Medical care, surgical care is definitely expensive, and it's something that is a huge cost to society. And that's one of the reasons why we really look at ways to try to reduce violence.
And that's where Blakeney Brooks comes in, one of the dozens of people a gunshot victim will meet. She's the injury prevention coordinator at Eskenazi.
So our responsibility is to make sure that it doesn't happen anymore.
Her team aims to break the cycle of violence, to keep someone who has been shot or assaulted from ending up in a similar predicament.
We're there when they get dropped off EMS. We're there when the nurses are talking to them. We're there when they come out of the OR. We're there when social workers are trying to figure out transitional housing and how to get them home safely, or if they have to go to rehab. We're there all the way until they are discharged. and far after.
I think the biggest thing with the counselor was just being able to talk about it. Because I would have nightmares. I would sit in the bed and really think about, like, dang, somebody really tried to take my life. Like when you think about it, like, they tried to take my life. Like, it wasn't just playing. Like, they were really trying to take me.
A long road to recovery for gunshot victims who survive. You know, gunshot victims also meet nurses in the ICU, detectives working to solve the crime committed, physical therapists, and as you just heard from TJ, mental health counselors. Just a long road there.
Yeah, and I know you learned that TJ says a nurse told him it's amazing that he even survived this.
Yes, it's amazing. So that was another person he met. She was sitting next to him saying it's amazing that you survived, that he must be here for a reason. And so tomorrow we're going to learn that reason. Tomorrow on WRTV News at 6, his unbelievable story of survival in his own words, and the toll this growing rate of gun violence is taking on those who are saving the lives of shooting victims. That's tomorrow at 6.